And I'll recognize Mr. Kennedy from Utah for his questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for convening this hearing. And Chief Schultz, thank you for being with us today. I'm grateful for your testimony. As a representative of Utah, I understand the risks of wildfire. According to the Bureau of Land Management, Utah experiences more than 1,000 wildfires a year. Most of these were naturally occurring, and as you mentioned in your testimony, these hurt our communities and endanger our citizens. With nearly 7% of Utah being operated by the U.S. Forest Service, much of the preventative efforts fall on your organization's shoulders. We appreciate the recent efforts made by the administration in terminating the restrictive 2001 Roadless Rule Act. By allowing roads to be constructed to at-risk regions, Utah firefighters will be better equipped to respond with expedience to any wildfires in areas such as the Wasatch Cache National Forest. And with the House passage of the Fix Our Forests Act by our Chairman Westerman, we hope to better equip the Forest Service to be able to better manage our overgrown forests and handle cleanup of hazardous fuels in the near future. Chief Schultz, how do you plan to include state forestry agencies in your reorganization plans?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Kennedy, thanks for the question. So we've already been in communication with the National Association of State Foresters, and I'm in regular communication with Jamie Barnes, who is the state forester in Utah. So we have ongoing discussion about budget issues regarding restructuring. We are currently in a public comment period right now that was extended through the end of September. So National State Foresters has submitted comments through that process, and I know Utah is represented in that process.
Excellent. So you are working with the National Association of State Foresters in reorganization, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. In addition, Chief, how will greater vehicular access aid our firefighters in combating forest fires?
So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Kennedy, we've had a lot of discussion on statistics with regard to roadless. You mentioned rightly so that in Utah, of the 8 million acres of national forest, it's about almost a little over 50% of that is currently in roadless. So the expectation is that when we open some of that up, we are going to have more access, whether it's for recreation, whether it's for timber management, whether it's to protect communities. When we look nationally, there's over 24.5 million acres that are either that are in the WUI. We talked a lot about WUI and the importance of managing the WUI, that are either within the roadless areas or within a mile of those areas. So the notion that we need to manage these areas is absolutely true to protect communities. So we expect that the roadless rule, when it is implemented under this new process we're going through, will provide additional access for both fire management, recreation, and timber management in those areas.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief. And what steps is the U.S. Forest Service taking to actively clean our forests of hazardous fuels?
So every year we treat different acres. I've got some numbers for Utah just in anticipation of maybe this question. So over the last 5 years, we've treated about 530,000 acres in Utah. So we're averaging just over 100,000 acres a year in fuels reduction treatments. And that varies by state and by region. But we are actively working to do this both with mechanical treatments, prescribed fire, are our two main areas how we treat the forest in that fashion.
Can you tell me about your mechanical treatments? What does that mean?
And mechanical treatments it's using equipment. It could be a timber sale, it could be fuels reduction, it could be masticators, but it's where we're actually removing trees with equipment mechanically as opposed to using prescribed fire.
And I've been taught or told, and I'm not going to pretend to be a forester, that pine trees consume a lot more water than, for example, what's native to Utah, aspen trees. I don't know if you're an expert in that sort of thing, but removing what can take over, and that's the pine trees, and allowing the native vegetation to grow, the aspen trees may reduce not only water usage, but forest fires. Do you have an opinion about that?
Mr. Chairman, I think that's a potential. I think in general, trees consume, about 50% of a tree is water. So you just think about any tree out there, on average, it's about 50% of that tree is water. So they consume a lot of water.
As do humans. Actually, about 60% of us, 60% of humans are made of water. So thanks for bringing that up. That's we're not that far off from the trees. Sometimes we can have the intelligence of trees as well. It seems they don't. Anyways, we'll move on from that. Mr. Schultz, final question: how will the U.S. Forest Service pay for the focused efforts to reduce available fuel in our forests?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Kennedy, or Mr. Kennedy. A couple things that we use. We have a timber sale budget we actually use to administer timber sales, and in some cases those sales pay for themselves. And actually in Utah, we're working to be more, working more with the industry down there right now as we speak to put out some more timber sales. I think the other opportunity we have a fuels reduction budget to treat fuels, and that money is about $170 million a year, and that's allocated across the country, targeting these higher priority landscapes where communities are threatened. So we have a base budget to do this work. We also have partners that we work with. It could be in many cases. I was in Colorado Springs last week working with the utility companies, and so Colorado Springs Utilities is investing their own funds to treat national forest lands to protect their assets. So we work with partners as well. We work with the Wild Turkey Federation. We work with Mule Deer Foundation, National Forest Foundation, that are partners with us to treat land. So we have partners that do work with us. We have states. We have good neighbor agreements. The state of Utah has been a tremendous partner working with the states as well. So whether it's the states, whether it's NGOs, whether it's community members, whether it's utilities, but we reach out to everybody to partner with to manage the landscape in a way that we protect communities.
Thank you, Chief Schultz. And if there's any way that I or my state can be of use in helping you in your important task, we would be happy to do that with that. Mr. Chair, I yield.